Okay, we're in the backyard again. As always, we always starting off in the backyard recently, it seems. But typically, and what you're looking at there is a combination of the front row Scotch bonnet peppers and the back row there. Those are habaneros, and this is a sort of a bird's eye. Let me give you a close up of it. Yeah, and these are the habaneros down here, habaneros, and then over here is where I have. Well, you can see one. I harvested a whole bunch of them. Typically, when you're making a Jamaican jerk marinade, one of the key ingredients, Scotch bonnet peppers. We won't be using Scotch bonnet peppers simply because our dad cannot stand anything spicy anymore. And because of that, he's had to avoid eating jerk altogether. And man loves jerk, especially jerk pork. So they're coming this weekend for a visit. We're going to harvest some stuff. Now, like I said, the Scotch bonnet pepper, key ingredient. But today we're going to be using pimento peppers. And these are the green ones here. And you can see the green ones here. There is a few ripe ones down there. Yeah, more green ones here. And with the pimento pepper, we're going to talk more about it once we're inside in the kitchen. The pimento peppers, the same sort of fragrance and flavor of a Scotch bonnet pepper. And you know, in some parts of the Caribbean, they call them seasoning peppers, and there's a reason for it. And we'll get to that. The same sort of, without the heat of a Scotch bonnet pepper, basically is what I'm saying. And I have some more over here. I really don't want this video to be too long. Like you can see them all here. And to go with that, of course, we'll get some scallion. And these are my scallions here. And we also need some thyme. I'm just gonna move the fever grass back. Most of you call lemongrass, but if you grew up in the Caribbean, you would know it as fever grass. And over here, some more thyme. Oh, by the way, fever grass. If you're looking for a recipe on how to make a fever grass tea, so maybe you're not feeling well, you're feeling under the weather, and you grew up in the Caribbean, or you're new to the Caribbean when it comes to the culinary culture, whenever we're not feeling well and we have a temperature coming on, we make a tea with lemongrass. That's why we call it fever grass. If you're looking for a recipe for that, or if you're interested in that, hit me a comment down below. Allow me to show you the quick little harvest. So we've got 3 into 5, 6, 7, 8 of those pimento peppers, about 6 of the scallions, and quite a bit of the fresh thyme. Well, I guess you know we're inside now, and what I went ahead and did was I gave the scallions a good wash because there's a lot of dirt and stuff like that. Fresh out of your garden, organic thing we're dealing with. Organic. I know about the rest because I wasn't involved in the production of the others. So give it a rough chop. Everything is going to, you have a couple options. You can use a blender, but I find that controlling the texture of the finished jerk marinade is a bit tricky with a blender. So I like using a food processor because you have a couple options. You can puree it until it's smooth, or in my case, I want it a bit chunky. So that is why I am using a food processor. And to make breaking down everything a little bit easier, that is why I gave the scallions a rough chop. So quickly, cinnamon, black pepper, pimento berries, allspice berries, pimento seed, whatever you call it, that is what is there. What I'm going to do is, and you can use pimento powder if you want, but I find that if I grind it in my mortar and pestle, I get a better flavor, you know. And same with the nutmeg. If I grate it fresh, you get a better flavor overall. So cinnamon, black pepper, the pimento peppers, which is replacing the traditional Scotch bonnet pepper, pimento seeds, light soy sauce, garlic, vegetable oil, ginger. We got some bay leaves, and the bay leaves will complement this because bay leaf, what we have in Trinidad called cinnamon leaves, as well as pimento leaves, they all go together in pimento seed, pimento leaves. You know, when you grill on the charcoal live and direct, you know, and I've seen it many times down in Jamaica when I was there. They would use the wood, the charcoal, and the leaves. So I'm trying to mimic some of the flavor by using the bay leaves. The nutmeg, I'll take the juice of 1 lemon, onion, brown sugar, rice vinegar. You can use plain vinegar. You can leave out the vinegar, totally up to you, but I like that rice vinegar in there, and a ton of the fresh thyme. Now with the thyme, what I did was they're all sort of tender stems All the woody stems I cut out and I toss it out because later on it won't break down in the food processor. And I don't want to risk having a sort of a choking hazard. So these are the ingredients you'll be using. If you want to keep this gluten-free, you can go with a gluten-free soy sauce. The Japanese sort of style, they tend to be gluten-free, but everything else would meet your sort of standards when it comes to a gluten-free diet. Or you can leave it out, totally up to you. If you want to use some Caribbean browning, you can use that instead. I may have shared this tip with you all before. Whenever I'm crushing anything in there that has the potential to jump back at me, I like to cup it like this, so anything that it will hit the underside of my hand and remain in there and not make a mess. And all you want to do is pretty much break all the little berries down, and the smell in here is already nice and strong, and I can tell. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite a bit of marinade that we're making, because I'm going to use some to make some smoked jerk pork belly for my mom and dad when they come down tomorrow. But I will also leave them with a nice container, so when mommy goes back home and she wants to make a little oven jerk chicken or something like that, they live out in Toronto out there, she can rock it, because for the most part, like I said, the man can't eat spicy foods anymore. And while this is considered spice, you know, like the cinnamon, the nutmeg, that's a spice. When I say spice, and when I refer to spicy, I mean the Scotch bonnet pepper and whatever sort of heat that would be in your typical Jamaican jerk marinade. A couple minutes later, and we have that lovely crushed pimento seed or pimento berries, all spiced. But like I said, you can also use the powder if you want it, totally up to you. First off, we're gonna go in with all of that scallion in there. It's then time for the cinnamon, black pepper, garlic. And the garlic, if you wanted to give it a rough chop, it's totally optional. Garlic, there's a lot of moisture in there, so it tends to break down really easily, and there's not a lot of hard work for the food processor. Now, you know, I spoke earlier there about how Daddy can't eat anything spicy, and black pepper, yes, it can be spicy depending on the amount, but because of what we're doing, and it's going to be cooking and it's going to be seasoning a lot of meat and all that stuff like that, so that will taper off. It's the raw heat of Scotch bonnet pepper, etc., that the man just can't handle. Onion, brown sugar, and I'm using golden brown sugar, but if you wanted to use dark brown sugar, that's fine. It's totally up to you. Now, if you wanted to skip the brown sugar and you wanted to go with honey, you can do that as well, no scene. Rice vinegar, and I may double up on the rice vinegar later on depending on how thick the final marinade is. Also, we're gonna go in with the, oh boy, I spilled some there, that light soy sauce. And again, if you want to use dark soy sauce, it's totally up to you. If you want to use, let me just clean up quickly here. If you want to use, and I love using the mushroom flavored soy sauce as well, but again, that's totally up to you. The oil, and that will help to preserve things, because like I said, the remainder I'm giving to mommy, and she's gonna keep it in the fridge, and you can store it in the fridge as well too. Just put it into a clean glass container. I won't recommend putting it into any sort of plastic container, because then it will, oh, we have some scallion that's left back there too, boy. Look now, we ain't leaving nothing back, waste not, want not. It will take on the flavor and it will taint. You won't be able to use it after that. So the final few things is we've got the bay leaves, and of course we've got the pimento peppers. And I kid you not, the kitchen is smelling absolutely incredible with the smell of these bad boys. I love freshly grated nutmeg versus, and again, you know, the smell, oh man, just incredible. That nutmeg is going to add wonderful things to here, especially if it's freshly grated. Look at this small grater, it's nice, eh? Oh gosh, look how cute the thing is. But anyhow, I'm going to grate in that nutmeg in here. Keep going, you want a bit more. And you notice all the bold flavors that goes into a jerk marinade, and this is why people love it so much, man. If you're accustomed to boring food, this will just brighten up your day for, I'm telling you, boy. Salt and pepper. Oh, this seasoning thing with salt and pepper, normal, so boy. Anyhow, with the ginger, all I want is a few slices. And my ginger has been washed. When I buy ginger, I bring it home and I give them a good scrub because I don't peel ginger. There's a lot of niceness in the skin there that I want. One more piece of ginger. Ginger and me is real friend, Of course, we need the juice of the lemon. Pop that in a little squeezer. And if you don't have lemon and you want to use lime juice instead, perfect. And over the years, I've also used tangerine, mandarin, all those different things. If you just want to use some orange juice, again, wicked stuff. If you want to use some apple juice to tame this down, if you want to use some maple syrup, you can also do that. What I'm going to do now is blitz this, and then I'll go in with the big whack of thyme. I don't have room in there right now for the thyme, but yeah, let me hit him a little bzz, bzz. Now you'll notice that, well, once I open it up, I have enough room to put the thyme in there. What I like doing is whenever I'm using a blender or food processor or anything like that, I like putting it onto a sort of a cookie tray. In case there's anything that spills, it collects there, not on my stove, not on my countertop and stuff like that. But I'm gonna add the fresh thyme in there now, and we'll continue. Let me just show you quickly what it looks like so far. The lighting isn't the greatest, but you can see what's going on here. What I may do is add a tablespoon or two of the dark soy sauce. In this case, I'm going to use my mushroom flavored soy sauce just to make this a little bit dark. I want it just a little bit darker, but actually, let me just go ahead and put that in right now. A couple tablespoons of that mushroom flavored soy sauce. Got all of that thyme in there. I'm going to switch that over, and I did have to stop it a couple times just to scrape down the sides, and the sort of texture that you're seeing here, I don't know how clear it would be on camera, that is exactly what I'm looking for. Now that said, let's talk a couple things here. The texture is totally up to you. If you wanted to go further and you wanted to have it more of a puree, more smooth, totally up to you. I don't. The second thing is, you'll notice I didn't put any salt in here. There's quite a bit of sodium in both soy sauces that I use. With that in mind, what I like doing is whenever I'm preparing meat, whether it's chicken, fish, pork, whatever it is, to use this jerk marinade on, I usually season that protein with salt and then add this. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. See what we got here. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. A non-spicy jerk marinade. I know there are more people, just like my dad, who can't handle the heat, but they still want their little jerk fix. So this one is for you. If you can source those pimento peppers, I highly suggest that you try and find them. West Indian grocery stores, Caribbean grocery stores, they will all have it. Let me see if I can. I haven't been using my best lens lately, so you guys would have noticed that the clarity on some things is not all that great. But anyhow, put it into jars and you can store it in the fridge easily 4 to 6 months. Totally up to you how long you keep it in there. But again, I'm sure you're gonna find uses for this. Just look at that now. Those proper things, boy. Chris is just bad. You're just bad, Jared.